Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. And good morning, brothers, sisters, and friends all over the world. We're so really very glad that you could all join us. It's a beautiful, beautiful Groundhog's Day today here at the Home Spiritual Center on February 2nd, 2025. Our opening prayer this morning. I invite you all to take a deep breath, release everything but the moment, and land with me in your place of prayer. Mother, Father, Creator, it's such a privilege this morning just to wake up. Each breath that we draw is a gift, and each exhalation raises our prayers of gratitude. As we move through this world today and always, I pray that we do so in peace, and that we find ways to flow among each other as water. May we each share the richness and the beauty of this moment, in the awe and magic of spirit, our oneness with nature, and the simple miracle of life. I pray that we learn to quickly forgive our last moments and to move gracefully toward the newest of the next in humble gratitude, with childlike excitement, and in the knowing that there is only love. Amen. I'd like to invite Rev Jen to the podium.
Good morning again. And happy Sunday. And as Jerry mentioned, it's Groundhog Day, the day where many of us, some of us, maybe it's only me, wait with bated breath to see if we're going to experience 6 more weeks of winter. Many of us, me, have our fingers crossed that Punxsutawney Phil does not see his shadow and that spring will arrive early. Our sister Lynn yesterday told me about Stumptown Phil or Filbert, and it's the beaver who does the predicting for us here in Oregon that lives at the Oregon Zoo. So I had no idea. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. So many of us are feeling the shift in the air. This time, it's a time of inspiration, a time of sitting still, a time of purification. The seed beneath the ground hasn't yet sprouted, but it's starting to vibrate, just right under the surface. Spring's not here yet, but it's really, really close. I listened to a podcast by a woman. She's an interfaith minister and spiritual coach and life coach, Deborah Roth. And she shared that this is a very powerful time of year on the wheel. It's the time of possibility, the time of potential. Though history shows that the first celebration of Groundhog Day was in 1887, its roots derive from Imbolc, which is a Celtic festival. And it means in the belly of the mother, because the seeds of spring are beginning to stir in the belly of Mother Earth. Or I've also heard it, the meaning as ewe's milk, like sheep, not you. The ewes are beginning to lactate. They haven't given birth yet, but they're getting ready for the quickening. And the quickening is that feeling of the growing baby inside the belly during early pregnancy. Some people call it the butterfly, you get that little flutter. That's the quickening. And we can use this groundhog energy or Imbolc to prepare for what's to come. It was also celebrated as the Feast of Bridget, originally Saint Bridget. This was the way for the early church to take over that halfway point between winter solstice and the spring equinox. It's also celebrated as Candlemas, the feast or the presentation of Jesus Christ, or sometimes called the Feast of the Holy Encounter, or the Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Candlemas, often known as 40 days, it's known as 40 days after the birth of Jesus, when the Virgin Mary was considered to be pure again. Because women they were considered unpure after childbirth. It's interesting. Okay, ridiculous. Candlemas, right? Candlemas, or February 2nd, was considered a holy day in the Catholic Church. And that's when St. Bridget was honored. She's the goddess of purification and healing, and, which I thought this was really interesting, smith crafting, metalworking, or blacksmithing. So, where do groundhogs come in on this holy day? Well, people look for omens, or they look for signs for the new growing season. And the story or the legend goes that that omen or that sign was the groundhog. That helped farmers know when to plant and also how long winter was going to last. There's an ancient rhyme that I'd like to share with you. If Candlemas Day be fair and bright, winter will take another flight. If Candlemas Day be shower and rain, winter is gone and will not come again. Had to make it rhyme. Had to make it rhyme, right? So does anybody know if Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow?
He did see a shadow.
We have 6 more weeks of winter. Thanks for being the bearer of bad news, Jerry. Darn it. Well, yeah, 6 weeks. All right. So Groundhog Day got me thinking about the spiritual connection or the meaning or the opportunities that this day holds or potentially holds. And it inspired me to share about shadows and more specifically about shadow work. So first, what is a shadow? Is it a thing of darkness, or because we can't touch it, we can't hold it, we can't grasp onto it, right? The shadow. It has to have a light source. And when that light source gets obstructed, we get a shadow. It's that dark area that's formed when an object blocks the light. So when you're looking into the sun, you don't see the shadow. You only see your shadow when you turn away. When you turn away from the sun, because it's blocking. You become the obstruction, right? It's blocking. Well, the groundhog sees its shadow and it turns away from the light. When we turn away from the light, what happens? We potentially delay the arrival of spring or new growth, that new growth in our own lives. And then maybe we have to wait another 6 weeks for spring or some growth to happen. And maybe we're seeing darkness instead of the light. So when we turn towards the light, sometimes it feels like it's too bright, right? And then we turn around and we see our shadow, that darkness. And then maybe we get delayed. Maybe it freaks us out a little bit when we see that bright light. Maybe we create a spiritual crisis. We delay the process, which leads me to the ideas and the beliefs around shadow work. So, of course, the concept of shadow work is attributed to Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, and he describes the shadow as the hidden unconscious and often repressed aspects of a person's psyche. It's the darker or hidden part of the self that the individual may not be willing to or able to acknowledge. The part of the individual that may be socially unacceptable or maybe shameful, or maybe we find something undesirable about it, which all leads to us repressing or hiding them into that unconscious mind. We repress them into our unconscious mind. Jung said that the goal of shadow work, I love this, is not to eliminate the shadow, but to bring awareness to these repressed or these hidden parts and integrate them into our conscious understanding, leading to greater self-awareness and personal growth. Jay, our founder here at the Home Spiritual Center, would talk about cleaning out the closet. And that's what it reminds me of. Looking in those darker corners and choosing what we want to clean out, getting rid of the junk, those things that we've held on to, or maybe the things that have been hidden, the things that tend to hold us back. And there are lots of thoughts around this concept, around this work. People are sharing ideas and beliefs around this, and there's so much healing that is happening. You can hop online, you can watch YouTube, you can watch a short, any kind of video on social media, and you can see people are sharing about this. They're teaching about shadow work and what it means to them, and they're healing and they're helping others heal. I found this little passage, and it says, shadow work can also be described as discovering and building a relationship with our hidden messages, our beliefs, our emotions, and behaviors that unconsciously influence how we show up in our lives, how we show up in the world. If, when we choose to illuminate our unconscious life, we loosen that internal tangled ball of yarn, all that mess, and we reclaim that vital energy. And we become awakened and we live an authentic life. I thought that was really powerful. I have a couple of amazing spiritual brothers that talk about shadow work beginning in the light, beginning in the light. And I want to share something that might not be very popular, but shadow work doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. We can look at it from a different perspective. Maybe we can find some joy or some inspiration or maybe even some excitement instead of dread or fear. When we think about shadow work, it's not always about sitting down and digging into this work. I'm going to come to this place and I'm going to dig up all my crap. I'm going to dig up all this junk. I'm going to bring it all forward. I'm going to bring it into the light. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Not like I sit down and I'm like, okay, today's shadow work day. I'm going to really dive in. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to get it done all in one shot too. I'm just going to integrate all the aspects of myself right now. And sure, maybe we have some help with that. Maybe we attend classes or retreats or workshops, and that helps us bring some insight or some wisdom to maybe some of our behaviors or our patterns. But it doesn't happen in that weekend or that day or that workshop. It can get the ball rolling. It can get the ball rolling. Often it's situations or events that come up that give us the opportunity to look at something that may be hidden or something that we've intentionally kept in the dark. Maybe we're in a conversation with our boss and something comes up and we feel some sort of a rub or we feel some conflict or a feeling in our physical body. And we think, ugh, this doesn't feel good. This is really uncomfortable. What is it? What's going on? We have that opportunity to step back and to pause and to look at the situation or the feelings around the situation from a different perspective. And maybe we start uncovering something, or maybe we isolate something. Like, I think it's coming from a place of maybe not feeling worthy. Maybe there's some feelings of, I'm not feeling worthy, which could lead us to thoughts of, oh my gosh, now this makes sense. I haven't felt worthy for a long time. Maybe not even discovering where it's come from yet, right? But that unworthiness has stopped me from taking jobs that really highlight my skill set. Or maybe I don't even apply to those higher paying jobs because I'm not worthy, or I'm feeling like I'm not worthy. Or maybe I choose poor friendships or poor relationships because I don't feel worthy. We're given the opportunity in that to go just a little bit deeper, creating a deeper connection to ourselves, taking it back further again to where those stories or where that story began. Was it a teacher in second grade that said something or did something and shut you down? Or was it a parent maybe that dismissed your worth? Whatever it is, it leads us to, or it can open us up to opportunities that we can create to heal whatever that is. And shadow work isn't always hard and it isn't always bad. Sometimes the shadow can be those gifts or maybe those things that we've kept hidden, those things that we're really, really good at, maybe our talents. Or maybe we discover our purpose in the shadow. Maybe the shadow appears when we're busy. Maybe we're busy raising our families or we're advancing our careers and we just don't have time to take a look at it, or the light doesn't shine on it because we're in survival mode. Our life is, other areas of our life are being highlighted to look at. So it just kind of sits there, maybe dormant. We don't have time to get to it, or we don't make time to get to it. It doesn't have to be painful either. Shadow work doesn't have to drop us to our knees. It doesn't have to be about doing the work. It can also be fun. It can be fun. Because the word work in itself can sound a little bit daunting. Like, I don't often say, I got to get up and go to fun. I say, I got to get up and go to work, right? So the word can imply that it takes some effort, or it's something that we have to do. It's something that I have to do. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, let me discover all the things that are wrong with me, all the things that are wrong. Shadow work is about developing self awareness and self acceptance and compassion for ourselves. It's about acknowledging the existence of shadows and getting curious about them. It's growing, it's about evolving, and it's never ending. Meaning, if I look at something that I've uncovered, maybe a pattern or something undesirable, that if that pattern continues to show up in my life, I can look at it from the lens of who I am today. Because I'm different than I was 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm not going to go back to that place, but I can take a quick glance at it and see if there's anything that still needs some attention. Am I done healing it? Knowing that if I choose to re-explore it, whatever it is, maybe it's worthiness, that I can come back to it from a curious lens, a lens of curiosity, from maturity and from wisdom. And perhaps something wonderful is revealed. Re-exploring, and we rediscover, and we remember. We remember. And I know that shadow work can sound, or maybe it even feels really intimidating. And it holds a lot of potential for us to embrace those new possibilities and to discover maybe some of that untapped energy. So, how do we start? Or if you set it down, you're like, I'm done with it. How do you pick it back up? How do we initiate the work? Well, there are countless ways to do this, to do shadow work. Some people seek professional help. Maybe they see a therapist or a spiritual counselor or maybe a life coach. And that resource can help lead them to the path. Maybe we'll walk beside them for a while, and then they have some support around that when they need it. Maybe we take a look at our triggers, bringing to our awareness those situations or maybe those people that just kind of rub on us and grate on us. Maybe something that they do bothers us, or maybe it hurts us. Those emotions, those strong emotions, when somebody says something or doesn't do something and you feel something inside of you, observing this can shine a light on the aspects of our shadow self. So what's bothering me about them? What can I find within? What am I seeing that's bothering me or hurting me within myself? Does it show up in my own life? Am I seeing a familiar pattern or a behavior? Is it something that I can look at? Is it something I want to look at? Is it something I'm willing to look at? So maybe we can start in the light, discovering our gifts or our talents or maybe our purpose or the ways that we serve. We can meditate and journaling what we discover, being able to go back to that and see how we've progressed or maybe how we've delayed, allowing us reflection and potentially a resolve, or at least the beginning of some healing. Many start with reflecting on their childhood experiences, looking at events in our childhood and maybe in our past that can reveal those repressed or those hidden emotions, or shadow. But we don't have to work at it alone. We have community. We have a beautiful community here. We can be open with our awareness and our recognition, and we can work with the divine, work with the supports that we have, source, God, your angels, spirit guides, whatever's true for you. Trusting and letting go of what we think it needs to look like or what we think needs to happen. So whatever way you've done your work, or maybe you're smack dab in the middle of something painful, maybe you're smack dab in the middle of something really liberating and exciting, please practice that self-patience and compassion and self-love. Be careful not to judge yourself, because that's pretty easy. We start getting into that judgment of ourselves. We need to be gentle and be patient, knowing that the integration of all parts of us, all the aspects, are coming to wholeness. Everything's coming into wholeness. And our friend, the groundhog, or the beaver here in Oregon, whichever Phil it is not capable of saying, oh, there's my shadow. There are all the disowned aspects of myself. I better go work on it, right? The groundhog doesn't do that. He goes back into hiding. But we can do better than that. We no longer need to keep those things hidden. We can remove, or maybe we choose to demolish, the obstacles that are in our way, anything that's blocking our view. I have this screenshot on my phone. I don't know the author, but it says, the sun is still there on a cloudy day. It's not gone. In our mind, we create the clouds. The light of the divine is always with us. So explore the idea of having fun with your shadow. Recall your childhood memories, or maybe you do it as an adult. I don't know. We have some playful adults here. Recall those memories of chasing your shadow. Remember trying to chase your shadow or catch your shadow, or maybe you're trying to step on it or hop over it. Bring that back. Use this time of upcoming spring to be playful and to be childlike, to be curious, because maybe it can be shadow fun sometimes, maybe not always shadow work. There are many approaches and there's many beliefs around the idea of shadow work, but it's unique to each of us. The work is unique to each of us. Maybe we've learned how to dive in and we're pretty fluid with it, or maybe we're still avoiding. Maybe we've healed and we've integrated all those aspects of ourselves, and we've chosen to come into hibernation and maybe just rest a little bit, take a spiritual rest. And this is why I love our community. We learn together. We offer new considerations or maybe new suggestions, and we help each other. We help each other by modeling the work we're doing. We help each other by sitting with those that are struggling. We help each other as we are mastering our own lives. I did a little bit of research on the spiritual meaning of the groundhog, and then I kind of mashed it up a little bit and just like slapped some gin on it. So we can embrace or integrate this energy of this time of year of the groundhog, embodying the concept of coming out of hibernation and welcoming new beginnings, welcoming the spring, representing the idea of emergence and of growth. Accept our intuition and accept our transformation and our own awakening, uncovering those hidden truths or those hidden insights, and finding balance between the physical and the spiritual realms. And finally, a reminder to tune in to our own inner guidance and trust the universe, God, source, that all of those things are put in place for us, that we are being supported on this journey. So I'd like to move us into a little meditation. And I invite you to settle in your seats or adjust in your seats. Maybe you kick off your shoes, bring yourself closer to Mother Earth. Taking a nice deep inhale, filling up your lungs, oxygenating every cell of your body. And on your exhale, releasing any obstacles or blocks that are not serving you. Again, a nice deep inhale and releasing when you're ready on that exhale. Visualize or see yourself standing at the opening of a forest. Maybe it's the forest right here behind our chapel. And tall trees, the singing of the birds, the rustling of the grass. And step onto a path. It's well lit as the sunshine is peeking through the trees. And it's easy to walk. In the open space, you step into an open space and you smell the gentle scent of wildflowers. Maybe it's a meadow or a field. You look up at the bright blue sky and you connect with the earth beneath you, connecting to the heartbeat of Mother. And you see a table, just the perfect height, comes into your awareness. And there's a present on the table for you. It's beautifully wrapped. You can see the colors of the wrapping paper, the color of the bow, the richness of the fabric of the bow. As you inhale and exhale, you notice there's a card on the gift. And you open it to a special message just for you. And the words pour into your heart, so you don't even have to attempt to remember each of those words. Only feeling the energetic signature or the frequency of the words that resonate right into your heart. Now you begin to open your present. Maybe you do it mindfully, unwrapping carefully and tying the bow with great care. Or maybe you just tear into it with excitement and anticipation. Now take a full inhale again and a full exhale and see what your gift is. Feel the energy of your gift. Is it love? Is it intuition? Is it the wisdom that you've forgotten? Is it the gift of service? Is it a sweet, sweet kiss? Whatever it is, it's just for you. And spend a moment with your gift. Thank yourself for the courage to open your gift. Thank your guides and your angelic support, spirit. And then gently start to bring yourself back to this now time and space, carrying your gift with you to the present moment, knowing that you will put it to perfect use. Bringing yourself back, rubbing your hands together, maybe wiggling your toes, and then gently opening your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back. Welcome back. So we're going to prepare for the offering portion of this morning. We'll pass the basket, and we do have the QR code on the basket for our PayPal, and we also have it online for our folks joining us. And take your gift, whatever that is, in the form of money, service, your love, your prayers, and just bless it, knowing that it will serve the home spiritual center in the perfect ways and that it will float generously back to you, back into your own lives. And we just say, thank you, thank you. Amen. And I'll invite Jerry up.
Wow, thanks again, Jen. What a gift that meditation was. That was really just amazing. Thank you. So the great predictor, what's his name? Puxatawny Phil, right? He saw his shadow. And for some, this is bad news. Like for Reverend Jen, this is bad news. 6 more weeks of winter, right? And for others, it can be good that the shadow's still there. Maybe there is a little bit more work to do, if we're thinking about it spiritually. Maybe there's just a little bit more I need to do before I get myself out of that burrow, or before there's, a couple of things that I've got to take care of before I can move on to the next step, whatever that is. I kind of wonder what Puxatawny Phil's issues are, though. Maybe like, I've got these great claws for digging tunnels and these strong, strong arms, and everyone says I can do it, but Dad told me that I couldn't once upon a time. Better wait 6 weeks. I don't know what's on his mind, but there's some really good stuff in there. Does anybody remember the movie Groundhog Day? Yeah. Right? Yes. Okay. And so, he keeps going through the same thing over and over and over, runs into the same jerk, gets the same water splashed on his jeans and everything. And what you find through the process of the movie is the one thing that really isn't changing is him, right? He's the secret ingredient. He's got the magic. He's got what it takes to make those changes. And that's what that shadow work is about. It's about breaking free. And it's about finding those gifts that Reverend Jen gave us so beautifully in that meditation. And it's just a beautiful thing to reflect on. So I'd like to bring us to our closing prayer. Creator, we're so grateful to have the opportunity to spend this time together in your love and light. Wherever in the world we may be, whatever time our clocks may say, your love is the fabric that weaves us together and keeps us closer than any time or distance can create. As we share our focus and spiritual attention with one another this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever we might be viewing or wherever we might be viewing from, Spirit, we know that you're among us here and now. May the insights we gain today stay with us and guide us in our daily lives as we help each other to master every day. And so it is. Amen. Oh, yes. And to those online, thank you so much for joining us. Many blessings to you. Home Center signing off.